Kara, you know these men
very well,
and their egos very, very well. How do you think this is going to end?
Probably badly, and yet not. They'll do, they recognize how inexpensive it is to buy their way into politics. And as politics started to encroach on them with regulation, of which there are none, they decided to employ their money and their means. And their first person really was Peter Thiel, who went out and spent very little money to get J.D. Vance into the Senate, I think $25 million, something like that. Very inexpensive for these people. And so once they realized that, they're going to do it, and they had to figure out which of the presidential candidates would allow that to happen. Now, Democrats were tight with tech people for a long time, but it wasn't this. It wasn't this expectation, maybe get on a defense council or this and that, but not, or an invitation to the White House, but not this proximity. So it will end, I think, badly in some ways for Trump because he cannot control them, and they cannot be controlled.
I mean, Bill, you've worked in a White House before. What would your life be like if Elon Musk were sitting in like the outer Oval and just was doing whatever he wanted?
There's no outer.
He had a corner in the Oval where he could just.
I'm not cool enough to spend time in Silicon Valley like you are, but I imagine it's very much like a campaign feel, right? Of rolling, freewheeling.
I was going to say nursery school, but okay.
A lot of like stand-up desks, right? Pizza at midnight in headquarters. A White House is very different, right? It's very structured. For it to succeed, you need unity and discipline. Not everyone, actually few people from a campaign can actually make the transition to a White House. This is a very structured, rigid environment. It's the most formal workplace I think that's ever existed. I could see why someone from a campaign or Silicon Valley would have a hard time with that transition. I think we're seeing that here.
He wasn't in the room for that announcement, and they kept him out on purpose. The companies did not want him there, wandering around.
And we know Elon would not have behaved himself. I mean, what do you make of this? I mean, as you called yourself a movement conservative, I mean, conservatives have always been friendly with business, but I wonder this idea of whole industries just kind of buying their way into the good graces of government.
Well, I'm calling
I'm
calling this particular one the plutocracy because that's what this is. This is power and money and tech all wrapped into one. And I'm very concerned about the cronyism and the conflicts of interest because the relationship between government and technology is so important right now as we are in this sort of nascent period of AI evolution and everything that's going to bring, good and bad. This could go very well for America and civilization, or it could go very badly. And I'm worried that these relationships and the money and the politics is going to pollute science and vice versa, the other way around. That tech is going to pollute politics if it isn't polluted enough already. Yeah. But this is a very important time for tech.
I mean, tech is like any other. I mean, I think we still talk about tech as if it's this little baby.
Oh, it is not.
Right. Okay, no, it's actually the most powerful industry now, second maybe to oil and gas in the whole world.
First, the top 10 valued companies are tech companies.
They are not a little baby that needs to be coddled. And so this idea that you can't engage with them like you engage with any other industry, which is to say there's oversight, there is regulation, there are guardrails against them taking over the whole thing.
The fact that he, co-president Musk is in the Oval Office and in the West Wing and has that protection of the executive privilege of us not having the clarity of transparency that will happen, and that cronyism that she was speaking of is going to go to a level that we've never seen before. And I think when it falls apart, ultimately, it's going to be where the money is.
One of the things that's, to be clear, is I think Steve Bannon is right. I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth, but I think he is.
President Trump announced yesterday a $500 billion investment in AI. Then last night, Elon Musk publicly criticized it, saying that they didn't have the money. What's that all about?
So when I covered Trump in his first administration, there was this huge announcement around Foxconn. They were going to build this electrics factory in Wisconsin. It's this Taiwanese maker. And there was all this publicity around it. It was a big White House push. They encouraged reporters to talk about it. And then it never ended up materializing, certainly not in the way that it was touted. It did not create anywhere near as many jobs as they said initially. And so when this came out yesterday and Trump was in the Roosevelt Room making this announcement, I reminded people that this did happen before. And with these announcements, you kind of have to wait and see what happens before you go too far. Now, on this one, we don't know. This is a data center that they're creating, hoping to kind of expand infrastructure in the United States when it comes to artificial intelligence, because people like Sam Altman, who was standing next to Trump in the room yesterday, have warned we're way behind China when it comes to the AI race. But Elon Musk is pouring cold water on this idea that this is a $500 billion investment. Initially, it's supposed to be $100 billion and then get up to $500 billion. Elon Musk is claiming that this company doesn't even have $10 billion behind this to do this. Now, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, is disagreeing. They are basically in legal warfare. That's important context here between Elon Musk and Sam Altman. They're suing each other. Or Elon Musk is suing them. And so it is important to remember there's tension here. But really the story of this is Elon Musk is undercutting Donald Trump on one of the biggest announcements he made on his first full day in office. And it raises that question we've been talking about, which is, what does this look like when someone who is not afraid to voice his opinion, neither of them are, when those conflict, and what this ultimately looks like. But the White House is saying that people should take Trump's word for it, not Elon's.
Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk's criticism was that this consortium doesn't have the money. The $500 million, $500 billion. I mean, they can raise that money pretty easily. But it's fascinating to see this criticism of something that President Trump is touting as a major accomplishment. From yesterday, Caitlin. We'll see you at 9:00 more. We're going to talk more of the second guessing right now by Elon Musk. I want to get perspective from tech journalist, author, and Pivot podcast co-host Kara Swisher. So, Kara, I don't know if anybody should be surprised by this, but what do you make of Elon Musk appearing to undermine this major announcement from the president?
Well, he wants to undermine Sam Altman. That's his goal. He's obviously in a lawsuit with him. He had a lawsuit, then he stopped having a lawsuit, and then he had a lawsuit again because of his involvement with OpenAI. So this is a long-running feud between these two tech entrepreneurs, specifically around AI.
They used to be friends,
They did.
Yeah.
They did. Long time ago, not very. It was many moons ago. But like a lot of people that talk to Elon a lot, myself, Reid Hoffman, many others, they're not. There's been a real break, especially between Altman and Musk over a variety of things. And Elon's alleging certain things, and Sam is denying them or just shaking his head, essentially.
In this particular instance, I mean, he's alleging they don't have the money. I know you've spoken to some of the parties involved in the Stargate project. Even if they don't have cash on hand, I assume they could raise this money quickly.
In 4 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I know of a lot of people who would want to invest.
Yeah, there's no lack of money among these people. They could do it out of their own pockets. Just Larry Ellison standing there. That's it. That's all you need. And interestingly, Ellison is close to Musk and has invested in Twitter and everything else. So there's plenty of money here. I mean, I think he's trying to impugn the thing because he's not part of it, or Trump is showing a little independence from all things Elon, essentially.
There are those, who've wondered whether this alliance between Trump and Musk would hit some bumps. Do you think it's a sign of that? I mean, how long would a Trump tolerate, Musk could have gone to him privately and expressed, his disdain.
Sure, he could have. Yes, if he was anyone else, he could have. But Musk plays everything out, all his emotions on X or wherever he happens to be, because he's a look at me kind of fella. And so what he did was, I think, problematic. I think they were already sort of hurting over that hand signal, however you want to interpret it. Problematic, nonetheless. I think people within the Trump orbit do think Elon sucks up a lot of oxygen. And as Maggie Haberman said, Trump is a one-ring circus. And so there can't be two ringmasters. So Elon's going to do what Elon wants to do because that's what he's always done. And that's maybe not work so well in a Trump environment where Trump gets to call the shots.
Can you just talk about the idea that, that they're proposing with Sam Altman and the SoftBank and Oracle?
Mm-hmm. Well, SoftBank has had a history of this, saying they're going to promise this much money and this much money. And he's a great entrepreneur, let me just say. He's had some disasters, but he's had some huge successes, Masayoshi Son. And so, like a lot of people, like Elon Musk, by the way, has had some disasters and some huge successes. And so this is an idea to bring more AI into this country so that we don't rely on China as we do when we make phones or things like that. Let me add, the Biden administration had a chance, from what I understand, from several of these companies involved to be part of this. And there was all kinds of back and forth. But Trump, of course, walks in having done no work and takes credit for everything, like he's going to do with the economy and everything else. So in that way, he's quite canny to do so and affiliate himself with the future, especially around AI.
If Musk had complete power within the Trump administration, could he not have inserted himself into this deal? I mean, is this a sign that he does not have? I mean, if Sam Altman is the person involved in this deal, not Elon Musk, Musk has his own company that he's started. Is that a sign that he doesn't have, the toehold, where he's not as secure?
Well, OpenAI, which Sam runs, is the leader.
Workers' pay comes for tips. I don't know. Trump continued. The president had addressed impact workers as some very criticized who are a hard and very revenge of Biden economy, which was inflation. When I think of Biden, I think of incompetence and inflation, Trump said of his former opponent who left office on Monday. Earlier this week, Trump said that he would visit Nevada to thank voters for electing him in the November election, as a silver state historically votes blue. I am going to Nevada and I am really going to thank Nevada for the vote because we won Nevada, Trump said at the White House earlier this week. Trump's normally a Democratic vote, and I just want to go there to thank Nevada for the vote.